Hello everybody and happy holidays. I'm Thomas and welcome back to another video. This time I'm back with another solo playthrough of Welcome to the Flippin' Right neighborhood building game. But today I will be playing the winter themed edition. It seemed pretty appropriate, where I will be playing pretty much the same game, but I have this winter theme board where I'm also trying to connect up some lights. All right, so I will quickly go over how this plays and then we'll just hop right into the game. So Welcome to is a Flippin' Right style game where I have this deck of cards here, and each round, at least in the solo game that I'll be playing, I flip, or I'll just draw 3 cards and play them out like this. Then I will choose one of these cards for their number and then one of them for the effect on the back. So each card, to kind of indicate at the top right, has some special ability on the back of it. So I can choose the 5 and the construction, or the 9 and the park, but I have to choose some combination of picking a number and picking an ability to use. And then I will write it on my board somewhere. I have 3 rows of houses here, one of 10, one of 11, one of 12. And essentially the main rule when it comes to drawing in a house number is they have to go sequentially. So you can't go ascending, descending, ascending again. It just has to keep going up and up. It doesn't have to be, you can skip numbers. So you could go a 1 here and then right next to it a 3. That's totally fine. But if you go 1 and a 3, you can't go back to a 2. So that's something to keep in mind. So every turn I will be writing a house number on one of these houses and then using one of the abilities. I'll quickly touch on some of them. First, we have the parks, which you just scribble off the leftmost spot on whichever row you place the house on. So if I place the house down here, I would use the park ability and scribble out the 0. At the end of the game, you score the farthest left on most uncovered spot. So if I have, 0 and 2 scribbled out, then I'll score 4 points, is kind of how the parks work. And there's a park for each row of houses. Next, you have the pools, which is one of my favorite, where if you have a pool icon and you draw the house number on a house that has a pool in the back, you can circle the pool, scribble off one of the boxes down here, and you'll score some more points at the end of the game. You have, I believe this is called a construction or something, where you can essentially change the number of a house by up to 2. So if I use this 5 with this construction, I can actually make that a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, or a 7. And then I'd scribble off one of the construction uses down here. I think those are called the temp agency. And then, at least in the solo game, you score points only, I think if you have like 6 of them, which is usually pretty tough to do. Next, you have the market over here. So at the end of the game, you will tally up how many of each sized estate areas you have on your board. And then your market will help you get more points for that, essentially. So once again, this is kind of another, you're using the top uncovered number here. So in this 3 column, if I have 3 and 4 scribbled out, that means each 3 estate sized property segment I have around on my board, at the end of the game, I would get 5 points first. So if I have 2 of them, I would get 10 points. Another card that will come up is a fence, and that's how you segment these houses into different estate sizes. So you can see there's little dotted lines all throughout, and so a fence just lets you fill in those dotted lines and kind of separate houses, which will come into play for some of these quests up here also as well. There's BIS, where you can duplicate a house number. So if you have a 1 here, you could, and you use the BIS ability, you could basically make a 1B house right there. These are for optional rules, which I won't be using for like roundabouts and whatnot. And then this is just a permit strike. So the game ends either when I get through the deck of cards, which is probably how it will end, but it can end earlier if I go through and basically there's 3 turns where I can't play anything on my board. Basically, if I can't assign a house number to any houses, I have to take a strike. 3 strikes, game's over. And I'll also lose extra points for taking those strikes, which is not very good. Also, I kind of alluded to this at the top here. There are 3 different little quests. There's one specifically for this holiday themed board, and then there's 2 normal ones. So This one is going to need me to build a string of lights along an entire street. This one just needs a 4 and a 5 segment estate, and this one needs a 1, 2, 2, and 3 segment estate. If I'm the first to score these, I'll get the number on the left. If I'm the second, then the number on the right will happen. And how it works in the solo mode is I split this deck of cards into 2 equal stacks. There is a card I shuffled into the bottom stack. Whenever that card comes up, I flip all of these to the complete side. So I kind of have like half the deck to try to get my first chance at some of these. And then after that, there's a chance that the AI can just kind of flip them all over, claim them all, and I can still claim them, but then I just won't get as many points. The last thing to explain is how the new holiday light thing works, where essentially if you just have houses sequentially, and this time they cannot be skipping numbers. So if you have to have a 1, a 2, a 3, 4, that works. But then if you have a 4 and then a 7, while that is a legal placement, that will not count towards the lights. And essentially you just draw a string of lights from house to house. They're in sequential order, and you'll score points for your longest string of light on each street. I think that's it. There might be 1 or 2 other things I'm forgetting, but it's a pretty straightforward game, and you'll kind of just see as I start to play how it goes. Also, an important thing to do in this game, you got to name your town, your little city, your neighborhood that you're building. So my neighborhood is called Thomasville. And that's about it. I guess we can just go ahead and start trying to crack away at this. So the one thing I need to keep in mind is, well, first off, with these quests up here, none of them can overlap. So I can't use the street that has the whole string of lights for any of these other quests. So I think I'm just going to dedicate this top row here to being the row of trying to get just all in order to get a string of lights for this quest. Try to do that as soon as possible because it's worth the most points and it's going to be kind of the tougher one, I think, to get. So my first couple options, I have 5, 9, and a 9. I kind of like the 5. So I might go 2, 3, 4, 5. I might place it right here. And then I will use the park ability to go ahead and scribble out that. Got some options here. I do like the fence. I'm probably gonna need to use the fence. There's also a bit of a distribution. There's like a little player aid here, and it has a nice house number frequency. You can see how many times each card appears. So like 1s and 2s, 14s and 15s, kind of the edge numbers aren't as common, which I don't think I mentioned that. Yeah, house numbers go from 1 to 15, while numbers towards the middle, like 7, 8, and 9, you're gonna see a lot. So it's just something to keep in mind. What I think I'm gonna do is I'll draw the 6 up here, and then I'm gonna use the fence from the 14 and start segmenting this middle row of houses here for this last quest. So I'm gonna place a first fence kind of right there, just so I have the 1 segment done whenever I fill that house in. Okay, not the best numbers. I could place a 4 here, but that house has a pool, so I'd really like to try to save that for a pool if possible. So I will place this 1 way down here and then use the fence from the 5 to start segmenting this road a little bit more, like that. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna start at the end of this street with the 15, and then I will probably just use the park ability to scribble out one of those. Okay, so here's my next options. I think I will use this 10 up here because 7, 8, 9, 10. That works good there. And then I can use another park for this top road, which works pretty good, I think. Ooh, look at that. First pool, and it's one we can use because I can place the 9 right there and then use the pool with it. So go ahead and circle that pool and mark off my first one. Okay, next I think that's gonna be a 4 there, so I could place a 3 up there, and then I'm gonna be doing something in the market down here. I guess I'll invest in just the 1 size properties, because I'll at least have one of them. Seems like it'll be worth it. Okay, a 7. I could definitely use that for my top row here, and then the fence I will also gladly use to help segment this a little bit more. So I at least have my 1, 2, and 2 segment, and then I'll probably do the 3 down there, and I just have to start filling them in. Look at that. There is another pool that I can use and another number I need for my top row. So I can place an 8 here and claim another pool, which I love to see. Love the pools. The 2 I do need for this top row, so I will go ahead and use that. Yeah. So I'll use that there, and then I can use another market thing, and I'll go ahead and invest in some 2-sized properties. Okay, well, there is an 11, which helps with my top row. I'm almost done. I just need a 4. And then I can invest in another bit of park up there. So that park is almost completely done. And look at that. I drew a 4 along with a pool, which is perfect. So I could place the 4 there, build the pool, and then I can go ahead and draw kind of the string of lights going for this entire road. And this quest is done. And that gets me a cool 14 points. Okay, well, I really want to try to use this pool. These numbers aren't as great. I could put an 11 there, and that's going to kind of mess up the sequence of 15. But I think that's okay. I'm fine with doing that. So go ahead and build another pool. Okay, the 12 I can build here, and then I will take the fence to build a fence there. So I have my 3 segment, my 2, 2, and 1. So I have everything kind of in place for this number 3 quest. I just need to actually fill in those estates now so I can complete that. Okay, well, there's another pool, which I'm gonna have to try to get. I guess I can use a 12 up here, and that works okay. I don't love it, but as long as I can build another pool, that's all I really care about. Okay, well, there's a 10 I can use here and start plugging away more at that park on the middle row. And that also helps because, I mean, I have a 3 segment here or a 3 segment here. So whichever one is done first for this quest, I'll take. Okay, the 3 I can use for this bottom area. I'll also just grab the park abilities, keep working on that park. Okay, well, I will use the 8 there, and then I'll be able to complete another park, and that's almost maxed out with that park, which is kind of nice. At this point, I need some kind of lower numbers for this. I need a 2, I need a 1, a 2, then either a 4 or 5, or ideally a 7 and a 9 and a 13. Like, I kind of need a lot to finish this middle road. I guess I can use this 11 maybe up here. Or down there, and then start using, I guess I can't use the fence, so I'll just use the park ability. Well, I'm gonna have to do something I really don't want to do, but I'm gonna place the 7 here, wasting a pool. I don't like doing that, but sometimes you just gotta do it. And I'll just use the market ability to invest in some 2-size properties. That figures, you know, very next turn, I could have placed a 7 pool if I was just a little bit more patient, but alas, here we are. Well, I can place it here technically, and I think I will just because I want them pool points. Oh boy. And there's the AI card. So I have basically one more turn, and then next turn, all of the rest of these will be flipped down. So I can still complete them after, but then I won't get full points. Okay, well, I'll place the 8 here and then try to work towards this. That's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll place a fence like that. Seems all right. And then, yes, this AI card is drawn. So these quests are flipped over. And I can no longer get the full points for that. At least I got one of them. And hopefully I can at least get another before the end of the game. But just not gonna get as many points. Well, there's a pool. But unfortunately, there's no way I can make that work anywhere on my board. Which is unfortunate. The other numbers also aren't that great. I guess I can use the 6 there. And then I could use... Oh, I can't use the biz because that's on the 6. So I guess I can invest in property size. And I'll go with 3, I guess. Sure. Another pool, and I cannot use it. That sucks. That 9 is good, though, because I do need a 9 for this middle area. So I will take that. And then I guess I can use the park ability to max out the park here, which is decent. There are not many cards left in this deck. There's, I guess there's 2 more turns, 3 more if you're counting this one. That 2 though is pretty good. That helps me complete that. And then I can segment this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it's probably not going to happen, but I can at least try. I'd like to complete this bottom one, but I would need a 1 and a 13 essentially in the next 2 turns, which so far, not off to a good start with those numbers. Yeah, I could place the 4 right there, and then I can invest in more property sizes. Yeah, I guess I'll go on the property. And then I think I'm on my, let's see, this is the final turn. Yes, it is. So I'm not gonna be able to complete this row. That sucks. You know what, silver lining, I can place the 2 here and build another pool. So I'm getting more of those pool points. And that was the final round. So let's go ahead and score up and see how I did. So we kind of just go left to right on the bottom here. So quest 1, I already marked, I got 14 points. Quest 2, I wasn't really even close to getting. Quest 3, I was close. I was 1 house away because I had my 2, and my 3 here, but I didn't get the 1. So that's 0 and 0 for a total of 14 for that. As far as lights, my top row, I have the full 10. For the middle row, I have 1, 2, well, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6 for the middle row. And then this bottom row is just 1, 2, 3. So that's a total of 19 points for the park, 6 uncovered for the top. Middle is 14 and bottom is 2, a total of 22. Pool points, the box I have not covered is 26, so I get 26. Temp agency I didn't use at all, so 0. When we go ahead and mark down the different property sizes I have complete real fast. Okay, so I essentially just had 2 2-sized properties and 1 3-sized property. So for the 2 sizes, 4 points each gives me 8, and then the 3, 5 points each just gives me 5. Biz, I didn't use at all, so I don't lose any points. Same with permit strikes, I didn't take any. So let me add up my final score. Okay, so it looks like I got a total of 94 for my final score, which isn't quite 100. Normally I like to try to aim for 100. This game really doesn't have any score charts or anything in the back to kind of compare your score to, so it's kind of just a beat your own score type of deal. And yeah, normally I like to try to shoot for 100, so 94 is close. I wouldn't consider that a bad score, but it's just not too great. I think if I were to just have gotten, you know, 1 more house there and completed 1 more quest, got a little bit more state points down here and a little bit more from the quests, I would have been a little bit better off. But that's a pretty good neighborhood to me. So real quick, I'll talk about my final thoughts for this game. And my final thoughts are that I think this is a pretty great game. It's not one of my favorite flip and writes. I think it's good enough that it's stayed in my collection and that I've gotten some of the expansions like this one. But yeah, I don't know. I would say I definitely like it. Compared to like some other roll and writes, I may not like it as much, but there's a lot of cool things and fun things going on here. And I think it's just a pretty chill game to play. Fun fact, this was the last time I played this was on the second live stream I ever did on my channel, where I did a flip and write edition where I played Cartographers, this, and Hadrian's Wall. So it's been a while since I played this on the channel. Cartographers is no longer even in my collection because I wasn't a huge fan of that. But I'm glad I still have this game. I think, like I said, it's not one of my favorites, but I do quite like it a lot. It's one that I will keep in my collection. It's a small box, pretty easy to play, has a lot of these different little expansion variations. I do have there's a separate solo mode, it's called like the Alexis solo mode that I haven't played yet, but I do have it. Maybe I'll try it at some point to see how much it changes up. But I mean, personally, I don't mind how simple. I kind of like how simple the solo mode is in the base box, where you just throw a card into the bottom half of the deck, when it comes up, you flip these to the other side. Yeah, there could be a fair amount of randomness on when that card comes up, because it could come up at the top of the bottom half. It could be way at the bottom. There's some variability, but overall, I think this is a fun little game, and one I quite like a lot, especially the holiday theme board. This is one of the first times I played this. I played a little bit, previously this week just to kind of warm up for this, but I like it. It changes the game just a little bit and makes you think about your house placements and the sequential order stuff, adds in a new quest, stuff like that. So pretty fun. I will quickly note this is also on Board Game Arena, so I was playing a few games prior to this, and it does have at least some of the expansions, so I was able to play the winter expansion on Board Game Arena, so that's on there if that interests you at all. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, a like would be greatly appreciated, and until next time, I'll see you.